My dear friends, have you ever noticed that in today's world, everyone wants to speak, but very few want to listen? We live in an age where words are overflowing on social media, in our conversations, even in our thoughts. Yet despite speaking so much, we often feel unheard, misunderstood, and unfulfilled. Today, let's talk about something powerful, something simple, yet deeply transformative. Say less, receive more. Silence is not weakness. It's strength under control. The world teaches us to express, to argue, to prove our point, but true wisdom teaches us something else, to pause, to listen, and to observe. When we speak less, we give ourselves the gift of clarity. We stop reacting instantly and start responding mindfully. Every time you speak less, you create more space. Space for understanding, peace, and deeper connection. Silence is often misunderstood as a sign of weakness, shyness, or lack of confidence. But in truth, it is one of the greatest forms of inner strength. To remain silent when provoked, to stay composed when challenged, and to observe when others rush to react. These are the true marks of emotional maturity and self-control. The ability to stay silent in moments of tension doesn't mean you are powerless. It means you are powerful enough to choose peace over chaos. Silence is not the absence of words, it is the presence of wisdom. When you learn to harness silence, you stop being controlled by the noise around you and start directing the energy within you. There is a profound strength in those who can remain silent and still stand tall. In a world where everyone feels the need to speak, to argue, and to defend themselves, being silent becomes a rare form of confidence. Silence allows you to listen, not just to others, but to your own inner voice. It gives you time to think before you act, to respond rather than react. The strong don't need to prove their worth through endless arguments or explanations. They let their actions, their discipline, and their calm presence do the talking. Silence becomes their language of dignity. When someone provokes you, your instinct may be to respond immediately, to defend your point of view. But those who have mastered the art of silence know that reacting instantly often leads to regret. In those few seconds of pause, silence gives you the clarity to decide whether a response is truly necessary. Sometimes silence protects you from saying words you can never take back. Other times, it allows you to observe more deeply, to understand the motives behind others' words, and to act from strength rather than impulse. That pause between emotion and reaction is where true wisdom lives. Silence is also a mirror. It reflects who we truly are when the noise fades away. It teaches us to face our thoughts, our fears, and our truths. Many people avoid silence because they fear what they might discover within themselves. But those who embrace it find peace, focus, and direction. Silence nurtures self-awareness, and self-awareness is the foundation of all growth. In that stillness, you connect with your deeper self, the part of you that is unshaken by opinions, unaffected by criticism, and unmoved by chaos. In leadership and relationships, silence often speaks louder than words. Great leaders don't shout, they listen. They understand that power is not shown by dominating conversations, but by understanding people. They use silence strategically to think, to assess, and to allow others to express themselves. When you listen more and speak less, you gain insight, earn trust, and build deeper connections. People feel heard, and that is one of the greatest gifts you can offer. Silence also protects your energy. Every unnecessary argument, every emotional outburst drains you. When you choose silence over confrontation, you preserve your inner peace. It doesn't mean you're avoiding issues. It means you're choosing not to waste your strength where it won't make a difference. This discipline creates an aura of calm confidence around you. Others may not always understand it, but they will always respect it. There's a quiet power in those who can stand in silence while others crumble in noise. They don't rush to fill every gap with words because they understand that real communication isn't about speaking, it's about connecting. And sometimes the most powerful message you can send is through silence itself. It tells the world that you are in control, that your peace is non-negotiable, and that your worth doesn't depend on validation. Silence, therefore, is not the language of the weak. It is the voice of those who have mastered themselves. Listening is one of the most undervalued yet transformative skills a person can develop. In a world where everyone wants to be heard, few take the time to truly listen. Yet listening is not a passive act. It is an art that requires attention, empathy, and patience. When you speak less and listen more, you open the door to understanding, not only others, but also yourself. Listening allows you to see beyond words, to sense emotions, intentions, and meanings that lie beneath the surface. It connects hearts, builds trust, and leads to wisdom that no amount of talking can provide. Most people listen to reply, not to understand. They wait for their turn to speak rather than absorbing what is being said. True listening, however, means being fully present. It's about silencing your inner dialogue and focusing entirely on the person in front of you. When you listen with your heart and not just your ears, you begin to understand perspectives that differ from your own. You gain empathy, and empathy is the foundation of meaningful relationships, strong leadership, and personal growth. By listening more, you learn to connect with people on a deeper, more authentic level. Listening is a gateway to learning. Every person you meet knows something you don't. Every conversation holds a lesson if you are willing to listen carefully. The greatest thinkers and leaders in history were not just great speakers, they were great listeners. They paid attention to what others said, reflected on it, and learned from it. Listening sharpens your awareness, broadens your understanding, and helps you make better decisions. It gives you insights that impulsive talking can never reveal. The more you listen, the more informed and wise your responses become. In personal life, listening is an act of love. When you listen to someone without interrupting or judging, you give them something rare, a sense of being seen and valued. Many conflicts arise not because of what is said, but because people feel unheard. Listening heals. It builds bridges where silence creates distance. When you make others feel understood, they open up, trust you, and respect you. That simple act of attentive listening can transform relationships, whether with friends, family, or colleagues. Listening also strengthens your inner world. When you listen to others, you begin to understand the diversity of thought that exists around you. It humbles you and teaches you patience. It reminds you that your truth is not the only truth, and that growth often comes from hearing what challenges your perspective. But listening doesn't only mean hearing others. It also means listening to yourself. In moments of quiet reflection, your inner voice becomes your greatest guide. It tells you what feels right, what you need to change, and where your peace truly lies. When you listen inwardly, you align your actions with your values and move forward with clarity. One of the most powerful aspects of listening is that it commands respect without demanding it. People naturally gravitate towards those who make them feel heard. When you listen intently, you create a safe space where others can express themselves freely. This makes you not only a better communicator, but also a better leader, friend, and human being. Listening builds influence because it shows humility. It says, I value your words, I respect your experience, and I am willing to learn. That simple attitude can turn ordinary conversations into moments of connection and understanding. In a fast-moving world filled with noise and distraction, choosing to listen is an act of mindfulness. It slows you down, grounds you, and helps you stay connected to the present moment. By listening more, you absorb more wisdom, develop deeper empathy, and create stronger bonds. When you learn to listen, not to argue, not to respond, but to truly understand, you become wiser, calmer, and more aware of the beauty in every voice around you. Words are not just sounds that leave our lips, they are vibrations that carry energy, intention, and emotion. Every word spoken has a power to build or break, to heal or harm, to inspire or discourage. The way we use our words reflects the state of our inner world. When we speak with anger, fear, or frustration, we project that same energy outward, affecting not only others but also ourselves. But when we choose our words with mindfulness and compassion, we create a ripple effect of positivity that returns to us in countless ways. Understanding the power of words is one of the most essential steps toward mastering emotional intelligence and personal growth. Many people underestimate the influence their words have on the world around them. A single compliment can lift someone's spirit for an entire day, while a harsh comment can stay in their heart for years. Words leave lasting imprints because they are more than communication, they are emotional exchanges. When you speak with kindness, honesty, and respect, you strengthen relationships and inspire trust. When you use words carelessly or with negativity, you weaken connections and spread disharmony. Every conversation is an opportunity to add value or to take it away, and the difference lies in the awareness behind your words. Speaking wisely does not mean speaking less. It means speaking consciously. Before you say something, pause and ask yourself, will this uplift or discourage? Will this create peace or conflict? That moment of reflection transforms communication from impulsive reaction to intentional expression. It is not the volume or quantity of our words that make an impact, but the quality. Some of the most powerful messages in history were delivered in just a few sentences because they carried depth, truth, and purpose. The energy behind your words often speaks louder than the words themselves. You can say something simple, but if it comes from sincerity, it resonates deeply. On the other hand, even beautiful words lose meaning when spoken without heart. This is why authenticity matters. People can sense when you speak from truth and when you speak to impress. The energy of authenticity is magnetic. It draws people closer because it feels real. Words that come from the heart touch other hearts effortlessly. In challenging situations, the power of words becomes even more critical. During conflict or misunderstanding, how you express yourself determines the outcome. Words spoken in anger can destroy what took years to build, but words spoken with calmness can dissolve tension and create understanding. Choosing to speak thoughtfully doesn't mean suppressing your feelings. It means expressing them in a way that brings resolution rather than regret. Silence may be golden, but when you do speak, make sure your words are diamonds, precious, clear, and purposeful. Our inner dialogue is also shaped by the words we use on ourselves. The phrases we repeat in our minds, I can, I will, or I'm not good enough, create our reality. When you constantly criticize yourself, your confidence shrinks. But when you use empowering language, you strengthen your belief system. Words become self-fulfilling prophecies. If you speak positively, you attract positivity. If you speak with doubt, you limit your potential. Mastering the power of words begins with how you speak to yourself before you speak to anyone else. Every word you release into the world carries a vibration that eventually returns to you. Speaking with grace, gratitude, and empathy not only elevates others but also refines your own character. It shapes the way people perceive you and influences the energy you attract. When your words are filled with encouragement, integrity, and love, they plant seeds of goodness that grow long after the conversation has ended. The more aware you become of the energy your words carry, the more you will realize that speech is not just communication, it is creation. Your words are tools, and when used wisely, they have the power to shape a life filled with peace, respect, and purpose. Calmness is one of the most commanding forms of strength a person can possess. It is not about remaining silent out of fear, but about choosing stillness in moments when chaos surrounds you. A calm mind doesn't mean a passive one. It means being in control of your emotions rather than letting your emotions control you. People who carry calmness within themselves naturally earn respect because they radiate stability in an unstable world. When others are quick to react, they pause. When others argue to prove a point, they listen and respond with clarity. Their composure becomes a silent influence that speaks volumes about their inner discipline. Respect is rarely demanded. It is earned through behavior, consistency, and emotional balance. Calm individuals command attention without raising their voice. Their presence itself becomes a symbol of reliability and confidence. In moments of disagreement or pressure, they don't rush to defend their ego or prove superiority. They focus on finding solutions. This kind of self-control communicates wisdom. It shows that they have learned to rise above impulsive emotions and instead respond with understanding. People naturally look up to those who can stay centered when situations fall apart because calmness creates trust, and trust is the foundation of respect. When a person remains composed in challenging situations, it reflects emotional maturity. Anger, frustration, and impatience are easy responses, but calmness requires awareness. It means recognizing your feelings without letting them dictate your actions. This balance allows you to approach problems with logic instead of aggression. Calm individuals think clearly even in storms because their mind isn't clouded by emotion. They understand that reacting too quickly often leads to regret, while taking a moment to breathe and observe opens the path to wiser choices. Calmness doesn't deny emotion. It transforms it into power. In leadership, calmness is a defining trait. Great leaders don't inspire others through loud commands. They lead through their example. Their steadiness in difficult moments gives others confidence. When everyone panics, the calm leader becomes the anchor that holds the team together. Their ability to listen, analyze, and communicate with composure makes people trust their direction. The same principle applies in everyday life. Whether at work, at home, or in relationships, calm people are viewed as dependable. They attract respect not through authority, but through consistency and self-mastery. Calmness also protects your energy. When you stay calm, you conserve your emotional strength for what truly matters. Instead of being drained by unnecessary arguments or drama, you focus your energy on growth and progress. This inner peace becomes a silent armor against negativity. You stop being reactive to every situation, and instead, you respond only to what deserves your attention. Over time, this creates a powerful aura around you. An energy that says you cannot be easily disturbed. People begin to value your presence because they feel safe and stable around you. Respect that comes from calmness is deeper than the respect that comes from fear or authority. It is genuine. It comes from admiration for your emotional balance and your ability to maintain grace under pressure. When you meet someone who remains polite in disagreement, who chooses understanding over judgment, and who maintains composure even when provoked, you can't help but respect them. Their calmness doesn't make them weaker, it makes them wiser. It shows that they value peace more than proving a point, and that kind of strength inspires others. Calmness, however, is not something that develops overnight. It comes from practice, reflection, and patience. It grows as you learn to observe your emotions instead of reacting to them. It deepens as you begin to understand that not every battle is worth fighting, and not every opinion deserves a reaction. When you master calmness, you not only earn respect from others, but also from yourself. You feel more in control, more focused, and more aligned with your values. In the end, calmness becomes your quiet confidence, the kind that doesn't need to speak loudly to be heard, because its presence alone commands admiration and respect. Silence has a unique way of nurturing growth, both within and around us. In a world that constantly demands our attention and reaction, choosing silence becomes a conscious act of power. It is in those quiet moments, away from noise and distraction, that the mind begins to expand and true understanding starts to form. When we stop talking and start observing, our thoughts settle, our awareness deepens, and our perspective widens. Silence gives us the space to breathe, to process, and to see life not as a series of chaotic events, but as a meaningful pattern unfolding before us. In silence, we begin to listen to what the noise of the world often hides, our inner voice. That quiet voice within is not loud, yet it carries profound wisdom. It tells us when to move forward, when to step back, and when to simply stay still. But to hear it, we must disconnect from the constant need to express and prove ourselves. Silence allows us to reconnect with our intuition, the natural compass that often gets lost in the noise of overthinking. Many people seek clarity through endless discussion and analysis, yet forget that clarity thrives in calmness. When the mind is still, answers that once felt distant start to surface effortlessly. Growth requires reflection, and reflection cannot happen amidst constant noise. Silence gives us the opportunity to analyze our experiences, learn from our mistakes, and realign our direction. It is in moments of quiet contemplation that we understand what truly matters. We realize that not every battle deserves our energy, not every opinion requires our response, and not every opportunity is meant for us. Silence teaches us discernment, the ability to separate what's essential from what's irrelevant. Through this understanding, we begin to move with purpose rather than impulse. Silence also enhances creativity. Great thinkers, artists, and innovators have always valued solitude because silence creates mental space where ideas can breathe and imagination can flourish. When your mind is filled with constant chatter, there's no room for inspiration to enter. But when you embrace silence, creativity flows naturally. You start connecting ideas in ways you never noticed before. The world around you begins to look different. Not because it has changed, but because you have given yourself the stillness to see it with fresh eyes. Beyond creativity, silence also brings emotional growth. It teaches patience and humility. It helps you understand that not every situation requires a reaction, and not every misunderstanding needs to be corrected immediately. When you choose silence in emotionally charged moments, you protect your peace and prevent unnecessary damage. That pause gives you time to process emotions, to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. It's in these silent spaces that emotional resilience is built, the strength to stay centered regardless of external chaos. In relationships, silence deepens connection. It allows others to feel your presence beyond words. Sometimes the most meaningful moments happen when no one speaks, when understanding flows through eye contact, gestures, or simple stillness. Silence gives room for empathy to grow. It teaches us to listen, to observe, and to feel. When we stop filling every gap with conversation, we begin to notice the subtleties, the emotions unspoken, the feelings unsaid, the truths that words often fail to capture. The power of silence lies in its ability to reveal. It uncovers truths we overlook in the rush to speak. It helps us recognize what we need to change, what we need to release, and what we need to nurture. Silence creates balance. It helps us recharge, refocus, and realign with our goals. The greatest growth doesn't happen when we speak the most. It happens when we listen, reflect, and act with awareness. In that sacred stillness, transformation begins. It is through silence that we learn to understand ourselves, master our emotions, and rise with clarity and purpose. The true impact of communication is not measured by the number of words spoken, but by the depth and intention behind them. Speaking less yet meaning more is a skill that distinguishes thoughtful individuals from those who simply fill silence with noise. In every interaction, words carry weight, and when chosen with care, they have the power to move hearts, inspire action, and create lasting change. It is not the loudest voice that commands attention, but the one that speaks truth with purpose. When you master the art of saying less and meaning more, your words begin to carry authenticity. And authenticity always leaves an impression that echoes beyond the moment. When we speak excessively, our words lose their value. But when we speak with precision, our message gains clarity and strength. Every sentence becomes meaningful because it carries intention rather than impulse. The person who can convey a powerful idea in a few thoughtful words holds far more influence than the one who speaks endlessly without substance. Brevity shows confidence. It reflects a mind that has processed deeply and a heart that understands the essence of what needs to be said. To speak less is not to say nothing, it is to make every word count. In today's fast-paced world, attention is the rarest currency. People no longer have time for empty words or exaggerated promises. They seek truth, simplicity, and relevance. When your words are aligned with integrity, they naturally draw people in. Speaking less helps your message cut through the noise, allowing others to absorb your thoughts more clearly. It gives weight to your communication because silence between words creates anticipation, and anticipation builds respect for what comes next. Those who know when to speak and when to pause create rhythm in their speech, turning ordinary conversation into something memorable. Speaking less also cultivates presence. When you are not constantly thinking about what to say next, you can focus on the person in front of you. You listen deeply, observe fully, and respond meaningfully. That attentiveness makes your words more accurate and your responses more impactful. A conversation becomes more than an exchange of words, it becomes an exchange of energy and understanding. People remember not just what you say, but how you made them feel through your attentiveness and sincerity. This level of awareness is what transforms casual speech into powerful communication. There is also an element of mystery in those who speak with restraint. When you speak only when necessary, your words carry curiosity and respect. People begin to notice your thoughts more because they know when you choose to speak, it's worth listening to. Silence becomes your strength, and your few words become valuable currency. In contrast, constant talking can dilute authority and lessen the impact of what you have to say. The most respected leaders, thinkers, and teachers understand this balance. They know that silence and speech work together to create influence. Speaking less allows you to channel your energy into action. Many people talk about what they will do. Few let their work speak for itself. When your actions become your language, your credibility grows naturally. People trust doers more than talkers because actions cannot be faked. By speaking less, you create space to act more, and when you do speak, your words are supported by proof. This alignment between word and deed builds authenticity and trust, qualities that make your presence powerful without the need for excessive speech. Ultimately, saying less and receiving more is about being intentional. Every word you speak has the potential to uplift, to motivate, or to transform. When your speech is guided by clarity, kindness, and sincerity, it becomes impactful beyond measure. You no longer speak just to fill silence. You speak to inspire thought, spark change, or offer understanding. Your voice becomes calm yet confident, soft yet strong. The fewer words you use, the deeper they resonate. And in a world overflowing with noise, those who speak with purpose become the ones truly heard. My friends, say less, receive more is not just a phrase, it's a way of living. The more you master your words, the more you master your world. Speak less, but with intention. Listen more, and you'll receive wisdom, peace, and respect. Remember, the most powerful people aren't those who speak the most, but those whose silence makes the loudest impact. So as you walk out today, carry this thought in your heart. You don't have to raise your voice to make a difference. Just raise your consciousness, and the world will hear you. Thank you.